Deputy Noel Grealish, please.
Taoiseach, I listened with interest to a report on RT's Morning Ireland last Wednesday, which outlined how health administrators and hospitals are asking people to use minor injury units where possible to avoid having to go to busy emergency departments. People attending one such unit in Smithfield in Dublin were glowing in their praise for the speed in which they were being seen and treated for minor injuries and ailments. They compared the experience to the previous experiences of spending hours waiting to be seen at hospital emergency departments. That unit is one of 11 minor injuries units dotted around the country that were designed to take the pressure off emergency departments. They deal with things like broken bones, dislocations, sprains and minor scalds and burns. I know from speaking to staff on a visit to one in Roscommon that it takes an average of 55 minutes from the time a person comes in the door until they go back out, having been seen and treated. I also know from a visit to the emergency department at University Hospital Galway that patients sitting in the waiting room for hours on end face a screen that pops up with a message advising people to use their local minor injuries unit as a speedily alternative to the emergency department. Good advice, Taoiseach, but for the fact that Galway is the only major urban area in the country that actually doesn't have such a unit. I have raised this matter before in the House during Leaders' Questions 2 years ago with the then Taoiseach in Kinney, and as recently as March of this year with the current Taoiseach. At that time, Taoiseach Varadkar agreed that there was merit in my suggestion that such a unit be opened at Merlin Park Hospital in Galway. He added, and I quote, "It works in Dublin, Limerick and Cork. Why would it not work in Galway? Therefore, I will certainly appraise the proposal and discuss it with the Minister for Health and the HSE." Taoiseach, unfortunately, I am still waiting to see the proposal being acted upon. The idea is what you could call a no-brainer. You have more than 60,000 people every year crowding into the cramped and outdated emergency department at University Hospital Galway, and 3/4 of them are being discharged after being seen and treated without being admitted to the hospital. Most of those 45,000 plus people would benefit from the availability of the option to go to a minor injuries unit where they will be seen and treated in a fraction of the time it's taking today. And as the Taoiseach said himself, there are injury units in Dublin, Limerick and Cork, and there's another 2 of them in Cork County. Why not Galway? UHG is one of the busiest hospitals in the whole country, with ever-increasing waiting lists and growing numbers spending nights on trolleys in the corridors of the emergency department. All of those people would benefit from a minor injuries unit if funding were allocated. It could be up and running next year. My question to you, Taoiseach, is when will the government stop playing lip service to the idea and actually follow up with actions on the provision of a minor injuries unit for Galway based at Merlin Park Hospital?
Thank you, Deputy Grealish. Taoiseach.
Thank you, Deputy, for raising this issue. And approval was given in May 2017 to the Dáil University Healthcare Group, which oversees the hospital system in the west and northwest of the country, to conduct an options appraisal for the future acute hospital needs in Galway. As the Deputy is aware, Galway University Hospital operates over 2 sites, the Model 4 Hospital and Merlin Park University site. It's important that services planning is done in an integrated manner between both. As part of this options appraisal, the Dáil Group will undertake a medium-term planning project to assess the population health needs for the hospital catchment area in order to inform existing and future service needs. The assessment will provide an options appraisal for the infrastructural requirements needed in Galway to facilitate the delivery of safe, high-quality, timely, acute, elective and cancer care for patients across the west and northwest. This assessment will outline a comprehensive plan to address requirements for unscheduled, scheduled cancer and maternity/paediatric care, including key enabling diagnostic and support functions. The new ED block envisaged under Project Ireland 2040 will also be considered in the context of the options appraisal. Dáil University Healthcare Group has advised that the options appraisal will be completed in the first quarter of 2019. I'm advised by the HSE that there are no specific plans at present to develop a minor injuries unit at Merlin Park. However, there is a continued focus on ensuring that Merlin Park capacity is used to ease pressures on emergency, acute and complex elective care at the University Hospital, which is the issue that I think you're raising. Galway University Hospitals continue to review patient service suitable for transfer to Merlin Park. Similarly, administrative, logistical and support functions, which are not location sensitive, may be redeveloped at Merlin Park University Hospital. I'm also advised that the Sailshire University Healthcare Group is working with the HSE to examine the potential for development of a day services hospital block at Merlin Park, subject to the usual capital approval processes. So there is a full appraisal underway. It's to be finalised in the first quarter of next year, and the issue that you have raised today, I think, will be very much factored into those considerations.
Thank you, Taoiseach.
Taoiseach, the question I asked you is to provide a minor injuries unit for Merlin Park in the grounds of Merlin Park Hospital. There's 11 of these around the country in major urban cities. University Hospital Galway services the west of Ireland. In one line you said that there's no plans to build one. Then you said it will be considered in the report, that the appraisal that's going to be carried out. Taoiseach, it's time to get off the pot and provide one of these units for Galway. UHG, the emergency department in UHG, is one of the worst in the country. Week after week, it has the most people on trolleys, and the government is doing absolutely nothing about it, saying we're going to build a new emergency department. That's going on since I got elected to this Dáil in 2002, and it still isn't been built. They're talking about building the proposal to build a new hospital in Merlin Park. I'll be dead and buried before that will happen, Taoiseach, and let's be honest and let's be fair about that. All I'm asking is a minor injuries unit they work very successfully. I visited the one in Roscommon and I was impressed with it. And I'm asking Taoiseach to give a firm commitment now that a minor injuries unit will be built in the grounds of Merlin Park Hospital without delay. The buildings are there. It's only a matter of kitting out one of the units, putting 2 consultants, a number of nurses in there, and you could take you could take 60% of the people attending A&E in University Hospital Galway could go out there. So Taoiseach, give a commitment that you will provide one for Galway, and why should Galway be different to any other major city around this country?
Taoiseach.
Yeah, Deputy, I'm hearing what you're saying, but there's a full appraisal going on right now, which is almost concluded, in relation to ensuring that the necessary health infrastructure across Galway University Hospital, across both sites, is actually factored in terms of capital investment in the future. There is a commitment by the government to build a new emergency department in Galway, and that will be followed through on. But I think for me to make commitments on the floor of the Dáil when there's an appraisal that is almost completed, I think is what I'm saying is that I'm advised that there's no specific plans at present. That's because the appraisal process hasn't concluded yet. So in other words, we haven't made a commitment in advance of that appraisal being finalised. And I think that is the context by which the Department of Health will make further commitments in relation to Galway. But I hear the points that you're making. They're not unreasonable. There are successful minor injuries units in other parts of the country that do take pressure off accident and emergency departments. And so, as part of the appraisal process, which, as I say, will be concluded within the next couple of months, we need to factor that thinking in terms of future investment in Galway.